This is the Bears Barroom Radio Network. Parental discretion is advised.
There are so many streaming TV series.
So many channels.
I have a stream.
I just don't know which one to watch.
Is this show worth our time?
I have a stream.
I'm 3 seasons behind already. Is it even worth catching up?
I have a stream.
What's the series about? Well, my wife liked it too.
I have a stream.
What channel is it on? And who's in it?
I have a stream.
I want to watch something new, something original.
I have a stream.
I want to watch something that's action-packed.
I have a stream.
What's happening, Barfly Nation? It's John Santucci. Call me Tooch. I have a stream podcast rolling live on Mixer for Bears Barroom Radio Network. With me, as always, is Joey Two Scoops, Joe Mandel. Joe, how are you?
What's going on, Johnny? How's it going, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. What a great episode of Game of Thrones, The Last of the Starks.
The Last of the Starks, man. Heck of an episode.
Ooh. Yeah, we really complex episode. We got the perfect guests for tonight, Joe. But first, man, we gotta order some drinks.
And we need someone to possibly mute their microphone.
Yeah.
That might be the bartender himself. Maybe he had a few drinks before he was getting on the air, but let's go. I'd say, what do you think it's time we introduce our bartender? That's right. The bartender is in the house. It's the Sandman himself. Guys, let's welcome Chris Sandlin to the show. As things are exploding all over the place, Sandman, what's going on, dude?
What's up? How's everybody doing tonight? I am excited. God, we only got 2 episodes left. What do you guys want to drink?
Oh, man. Sandman, I'm going to have my usual bourbon on the rocks.
Right up. What about you, Joe? What do you want?
Oh, I'm gonna go light tonight. I'm gonna go with a Michelob Ultra straight out of the can.
There you go. I think I'm going to pour me a drink while I'm serving you guys tonight. We're going with the good old Sam Adams Oktoberfest.
Double whammy.
Wow,
2 beers in a row. Love it.
Oh, man. Let's get down to it, Joe, and bring in our first guest.
Sounds good to me. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got Frankie Chachi Myers here. Chachi, how you doing, my friend?
Chachi, he's promoted from bartender.
Yeah.
Ooh, yes. It's feeling nice. I actually get to get a drink instead of serving them.
Oh,
Speaking of that, Frankie Chachi Myers, what do you want to drink tonight?
I think I'll take a nice glass of Jameson on the rocks.
Here you go.
Thank you, brother.
Enjoy.
Tastes like America.
Joe, Aldo say drinks around the house tonight?
They always are. I can guarantee you that.
Oh, I love that barkeeper.
In that case, I'm going to need another one of those.
We'll make it a double coming right up.
2 fingers. All right. Let's find out what Chachi's watching and how's it going for you, Chachi. Anything new on the streaming channels?
Oh, dude, it's going pretty good. I've been watching the Frankenstein Chronicles on Netflix.
Oh, that was excellent.
Oh, that show is really good. There's so much suspense, and
Yep.
it's got a great plot.
Man, I'm glad you brought that one up too. That's one of my favorite ones recently. If listeners out there, Chachi is absolutely right. It's great. It stars Sean Bean, who played Ned Stark.
Oh, yes.
And it's a great twist on the classic Mary Shelley tale. It's kind of, the spin is kind of, Frankie, I don't know if you'll agree with me on this, but it's kind of like, what if Frankenstein was a real story, you know? And Sean
absolutely.
Bean's a detective on the case following these murders, you know, and it's great, man. It's excellent twists. I think there's, like 3 seasons, maybe?
Oh, yeah, and the twists are what really makes it, like,
For
almost
sure.
every season is so much different, like, covers, like, a whole different aspect.
Yeah,
point of view.
That's on Netflix. You can find that on Netflix. So, all right. So, Sandman, what are you watching and how's it going for you?
Well, since the last time I was working, I finished up The Office. So
Nice.
There you
I got
go.
through that.
Watching that right
through
now.
And we started up on Parks and Rec. So we are through the first season. I think we're onto the 2nd or 3rd episode of season 2.
And you're enjoying it?
Yes. Getting better as it's going.
Where can viewers find Parks and Rec?
We watch it on Hulu.
Excellent.
It might be on Netflix. I'm not sure, but I know we watch it on Hulu.
Excellent. So, Joey Two Scoops, what are
Yes,
you
sir.
watching and how's it going for you?
Well, actually, as of the recommendation last week from Brandon, who was on the show with us, I started watching Barry on HBO, and I have to say, that's an excellent show, man. It's hilarious, but it's also, it's got the hitman aspect. It's kind of got everything you want in a show, and I tell you what, I'm hooked. So if you have HBO Go or HBO Now, make sure you watch Barry because Bill Hader and Henry Winkler are fantastic.
Right. Excellent. Yeah, that's on my list too. I recently watched, I think it's called Master Sounds on Netflix. And this is the story of Robert Johnson, who was a legendary blues man who supposedly sold his soul to the devil to become the world's greatest guitar player. It's about 48 minutes long, man. And you got Keith Richards in there, a bunch of other blues players talking about the legend of Robert Johnson, and they tell his whole life story. It's great about how he died at 27, like a lot of other rock stars. That 27 curse claimed the lives of Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, Jimi Hendrix, Kurt Cobain, all died at 27, same as Robert Johnson. And the story's great. He had a young wife who died at his baby and wife died in childbirth. I think he was like 21 years old when that happened. And, follows the story in Mississippi Delta, growing up really poor, shuffled from house to house. It's a great story. It's animated with a great style. And then it has live action interviews and stuff, including a few, Bonnie Raitt and Keith Richards do some talking on it. And it's The Crossroads, the story of Robert Johnson on Master Sounds. You can find that on Netflix, man. It was really good. It was only 48 minutes long, and I really enjoyed it. The music's great. Great guitar music from Robert Johnson.
Nice.
Old recordings of where it all started, and basically that's where the blues and rock and roll started, was right there. So I highly recommend that. That's on Netflix. And Joe, what do you say we enter the memory stream?
Well, I'd say that sounds like a good idea. So let's go on and join. Let's go to a certain period in time for this one, Tooch.
How can I lose a girl to you? You don't even speak English.
Well, Kelsey, look at the bright side. Daniela's a wonderful girl who likes me better than you.
Why is that the bright side?
Because...
His name is... Not important. What's important is he's better than you in every conceivable way.
Damn, Jackie, that could be anybody!
You know, I wish someone would rub lotion on my shoulders. I think they're getting a little red.
Yeah, you should be careful. Looks like you're starting to scab.
That's a burn about a burn. That's a second-degree burn.
Oh, hey, Hyde, Father's Day is coming up. Shouldn't you practice saying, hi, are you my daddy?
I love you, Eric.
I love cake. Pimp gave you the holiday off, huh?
Yeah, he replaced me with your mom.
Can't call Edna, man. It's poker night. No offense, but isn't every night poker night for Edna?
So, I guess this is the way an immature, engaged high school dumbass with no car, no job, and no money trims the hedges.
That was like 8 burns in one sentence.
Foreplay is very important.
Oh, no, it's not.
Yes, it is.
My head hurts. That's your brain trying to comprehend its own stupidity.
You're soft.
How soft is he, Hyde?
Softer than Liberace at the Playboy Mansion.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. That 70s show. Over 20 years old now. 1998 was when it first appeared on our airwaves. Some great, some relatively unknown cast members started on this show.
At the time.
Yeah, at the time. Relatively unknown. Later went on to find success. Mila Kunis, Topher Grace, Ashton Kutcher, to name a few. And then, of course, you had Kurtwood Smith as the father, who was great as Red. Yeah, just what I loved about it too was they were obsessed with burns. You know, as you heard in the clip. That's what made it special. So, all the great burns. Frankie, who was your favorite That 70s Show character?
Oh, dude, that's easy, man. Fez. Fez is my dude, man. Like, I could relate to him so well. Me and Fez were like 2 peas in a pod, dude. And the way he always storms off when he gets pissed off, and he's just like, "Good day." That's pretty much me.
Great character,
Love him.
so funny. Wilder Valderrama, great portrayal. Sandman, your favorite character from That 70s Show that you identified with?
Yeah, we watch that a lot. We still watch that a lot. It's on Laugh TV every night. I would say I mostly relate to Red because that's my oldest son. He's 18, and I always call him a dumbass. And he even bought me a coffee mug with a picture of Red on it. That talks about calling him a dumbass. yeah, it's pretty much me.
Joe, how about you? Your favorite That 70s Show character?
Oh man, that's a tough one for me.
It's
man.
tough.
But
many.
I think I gotta go with Ashton Kutcher's character, just because he's such an idiot. You know, it just makes him. You can't not love a lovable idiot, right? And that easily my favorite character on the show. And you know, look at all these people that had a huge career on this television show. It's unbelievable.
A prototypical stoner, great character. I probably identified the most with Eric. Just kind of, you know, the son, you know, of who was written by his dad, and you know, just not as successful in his love life as he'd want to be. But Eric, you know, probably everyone that would hang out at my house too, my parents' house too when we were kids. So Like they hung out in Red's basement. That was the hangout too. So probably identify with Eric the most. And of course, you have the beautiful girls. Yeah.
Should I be calling you dumbass?
Yeah, dumbass. It wouldn't be the first.
You know what I call Tooch?
We know each other. He's a friend from work. Where have you been? Everybody thought you were dead.
All right. Well, we're going to get right into Game of Thrones soon. But first, Joe, we're going to do the news in 2 scoops or less.
That's right.
What? You look like Mary Poppins. Is he cool? Hell yeah, he's cool. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all! Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
It's entertainment news in 2 scoops or less.
Holy smokes!
That's right, everybody. It's time for the entertainment news in 2 scoops or less. Last Friday, the controversial, extremely wicked, shockingly evil, and vile, starring Zac Efron as serial killer Ted Bundy, released on Netflix. We will be doing a show once Game of Thrones concludes, and we will be doing an episode discussing if the film glamorizes the twisted serial killer. So make sure to tune in for that. That'll be coming up in a few weeks here. So if you have Netflix, make sure you check that out. I watched it this weekend, and I will save my thoughts on it for a few weeks from now. And then my last bit of entertainment streaming news for the week. The live-action remake of Disney's The Lady and the Tramp will be coming to Disney Plus streaming service. News broke today that the original Siamese Cat song will be cut from the movie and replaced with a Janelle Monáe song. Obviously, the old Siamese Cat song has been perceived by lots of people to be a racist song, so it's been cut and is being replaced with a song by Janelle Monáe. The Lady and the Trump... I'm sorry. The Lady... That'd be a totally different movie, guys. The Lady and the Tramp will debut when Disney Plus debuts on November 12th. And that's all I've got for the entertainment news in 2 scoops or less, gentlemen.
All right. Well, I guarantee you the barkeeper will not go see Lady and the Tramp.
Probably not.
It's not getting his money, that movie. All right. So, Joe, before we head into recap Game of Thrones Season 8, Episode 4, The Starks, we have a sponsor of our Game of Thrones segment, Joe. So how about a word from our sponsor?
Feeling knackered after fighting the army of the dead? Need a latte before you embark on some drinking games? Starbucks of Winterfell offers post-battle coffee delivery service. Whether you're a Northern Lord, a sellsword, or the Mother of Dragons, we have your favorite coffee drink. Now featuring our seasonal Giant's Milk Latte. Starbucks of Winterfell. Deliciousness is coming.
Deliciousness is coming, Tooch. Then we'll just go ahead and jump right into the Game of Thrones section, guys.
All right, let's go.
You gotta fight for your right. of a different coat. That's all the truth I know. In a coat of gold or a coat of rat, a lion still has its claws, and mine are long and sharp, my lord, as long and sharp as yours.
All right, wow, that was a hell of a theme there, Joe. All right, so we had a funeral, we had a party, a celebration, some coupling, and later on, Advantage Cersei, and that was why we played those songs. So, the funeral. Let's go, Frankie. What'd you think of Jon Snow's speech at the funeral?
Jon Snow's speech was. I mean, felt like it was meant to unify everybody, but I feel like he really just pointed out that everybody was still against each other now that it was over. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
with all the looks that were going around.
Yeah,
it just felt awkward.
It was a different kind of mood there. It was, of course, everyone said goodbye to the honored dead, and of course, Jon's speech. We'll never see the likes of these folks who gave everything to defend the entire realm of Westeros. So, a little teary. Sandman, you get a little teary during the funeral scenes, saying goodbye.
I don't know. It was sad, Knew some of these people were coming to an end, according to my Deadpool. But
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I didn't get teary-eyed, but it was sad. It was, you'd see some of the main players' favorite people go first.
Right, and the funeral slowly turns into a dinner and a party and a celebration, and one guest feels out of place. Joe, do you know who I'm talking about? Who felt out of place at the dinner?
You got to be talking about the Hound, I would imagine, right?
Well, one of them. I'm talking about Daenerys, who tries her best to kind of fit in, but can't. She even tries so hard she makes Gendry a lord. He's walking by, and he was looking for Arya, and all of a sudden he's like, Gendry, what? Who, me? Who, me? He's like, you are Gendry, aren't you? How about being Lord of Storm's End? Because nobody could figure out who actually is the Lord of Storm's End. So, and then, of course, Gendry does find Arya, and what do you think, Frankie? Did you think Arya was gonna ever become Lady of Storm's End?
Definitely not, man.
No chance.
She's never wanted to be a lady. That's been her whole theme through the show. And she's pretty scary at this point. Like, I'm surprised Gendry even had the balls to propose.
Yeah. One night he was hooked, Joe.
Yeah, I guess.
Man.
Yeah, must have been okay, huh?
Yeah.
Holy
smoke! Right. Of course, the Hound, like you said, Joe, was out of place. He turns down the advances of a northern girl, and he's got other things on his mind. Joe, looks like we're still alive for Clegane Bowl. Joe, what do you think?
Oh yeah, I think they're pointing in that direction, man. I mean, the Hound said towards when they were riding off to King's Landing, him and Arya, he said, "I've got some unfinished business."
Yep. Oh, yeah, it's a good thing they're giving the fans what they want, and of course we had some drinking games, right? And mostly led by the Lannister boys, and they were trying to get Brienne drunk, right, Sandman?
Oh yeah. It worked.
Right. Now, of course, Jamie beats out Tormund. We were all wondering in the beginning who was going to win that battle there. Poor Tormund ends up going home with Ghost.
Yeah.
But
who was not pet by John, by the way.
yeah, let's I want to, while we're on that with Ghost, I was like, Frankie, when the Stark kids give up their dire wolves, bad things happen. Are we looking at maybe some dark clouds ahead?
I mean, it's a possibility, but as a counterpoint, I mean, Arya let her wolf run away and go a different direction. She's pretty well off. Sansa's wolf got killed. She's doing pretty hot. But I feel like the thing that really sealed it was when the dragon got killed. That was supposed to be his. That's
Right.
pretty symbolic, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and we'll get to that, of course. And let's talk about Jaime and Brienne while we're still at the party. And Jaime, Brienne, that scene, I really like that scene where Jaime was trying to get his shirt off, and he has only got one arm, of course, one hand to unbutton. It was a great scene, and kind of awkward as Jaime's really not the ladies' man. We assume kind of that the Golden Knight is the ladies' man, but he's really only been with one woman in his entire life, and that's his sister. And we'll talk about Jaime and his sister at the very end of this show.
Mm-hmm.
But what did you guys think? Sandman, what did you think about the scene between Jaime and Brienne? Were you happy that they got together, or did you kind of know tragedy might happen? A quick.
I think it's been building towards that for quite a while, and we talked a while back. I thought that they would end up together over her and Tormund. I think it was pretty good, but obviously the way he left her in shambles. But I don't know if he's going to kill his darkness by facing Cersei, so that he can possibly come back and have that gone,
right?
Off of his back. So that's a possibility too.
Right, and we had really been considering Jaime on this redemption arc, looking at him in that way as he's someone who struggles with doing the right thing a lot of times. Joe, is Jaime on the redemption arc soon, or is he destined for tragedy here? What do you think?
Well, I tell you what, I really thought he was on the redemption route, but after the way he kind of stormed off this episode, going to what made it seem like he was going to his sister's aid, but that could just be, the way they're playing it for the show.
Yeah.
The way he stormed up and the way he was so cold, I think he might be going back to help his sister, and I think he might not be redeeming himself after all.
Right, and that's the big question. And we'll go around here and let's find out what you guys think. Is Jaime going to help Cersei or kill Cersei? And did he tell Brienne that he's a hateful person, just to, sort of break it off quick with Brienne? What do you think, Frankie?
I think he is kind of going to kill his sister, just because he's been on the redemption arc this whole time. Like, the penultimate of that would be to kill off the part of him that's making him so evil to begin with. And when he's giving his little speech there to Brienne as he's leaving, all of the terrible things he's mentioning, at the end he says he did it for Cersei. I did this for Cersei.
Yeah.
But the last thing he says is that I'm an evil person. And I feel like he thinks in his mind he's the only person that can stop Cersei.
Right, I'm a hateful person. Yeah. Hateful was the word he used, I think, right, Sandman?
Yeah.
Hateful person. Do you think Jaime's going down to kill Cersei? Does he love Cersei? After being with Brienne, is he still convinced that Cersei's the only woman for him? What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's going to help kill her, help defeat her. I hope so, but yeah, I think that's where he's headed.
And Joe, I already hit you on this question.
You did. I think he's.
Any reflections before we move on? I know there's the Valonqar prophecy. I'm sure Frankie will tell you. That's in the back of his mind as well.
Oh yeah.
Is Jamie? Well, we had talked in the pilot, Sandman, too, about how we thought Arya might use Jamie's face to get to Cersei. Now, as it so happens, we're on pace for Clegane Bowl, and we're on pace for Arya using Jamie's face because they're all headed down to King's Landing. So, coincidentally, Cersei said, "Leave the gates open," which that's good news for Arya. So, Joe, any last points on Jamie and Brienne? Did he let her down quickly?
He let her down quickly, and maybe he ends up being with her in the end. Who knows? But I do know what Brienne was thinking after she finally lost her virginity.
Oh. So, any of you guys think, Joe, do you think Brienne's going to follow Jamie down the King's Road?
Well, she's supposed to protect Sansa. She's sworn an oath.
Right.
So I think she's going to stay in Winterfell, and maybe Sansa decides to take a stroll with her and encourages something like that. So I could see maybe Sansa pushing her to go to King's Landing and help, and maybe Sansa wants to be a part of that and leave Bran in Winterfell. I'm not 100% sure, but I do know that I feel like Brienne's going to end up in King's Landing somehow.
Okay. All right. So we had some goodbyes as well. Notably for me, and I'm not so sure if it really is goodbye, but it was Jon and Sam. Jon saying goodbye to Sam and Gilly. We assume that Sam is heading to Horn Hill, the Tarly family castle and family lands. A couple episodes ago, Sam had told Daenerys that he stole some books from the Citadel. I'm wondering now, that may have just been forgotten. I don't know if we're ever going to see those books. Frankie, the books, will they show up again? What do you think?
I feel like at this point, they almost every hint they're dropping, like it's almost coming to fruition, since it's kind of closer to the end, and there really isn't that much plot development or speech really. A lot of times when they say drop big things like that, it just comes right back up. So I feel like there's probably a pretty good chance.
Right. So you think we've seen the last of Sam, Chris, or will he come back to play a part still?
I'd say last episode, when they start tying up more of the loose ends after the battle and everything's decided who's where, I think we'll see him again, and maybe some of the things he's learned from the books will finally come to a head.
Right. All right. So while the party was going on, or shortly after the party, and everyone was getting it on, it was coupling.
Literally.
Jon and Dany. Dany comes to Jon's room. There was a funny scene where she's like, "Are you drunk?" He stumbles. He's like, "Not really." But they had a great little conversation. I think it was really important. You really see how Dany wants Jon to keep, his heritage a secret, and it makes you wonder, does Dany really care that much for Jon? At least, does she care for Jon more than the Iron Throne, or not? Because it would seem that the Iron Throne's a little bit more important than our favorite character, one of the favorite characters on the show. But if Dany were, of course, Jon says, you're still my queen, no matter what, and Jon is an honorable man. But Daenerys swears Jon or asks him to keep his heritage a secret because it will complicate things. No matter what happens, someone will push Jon to take his claim to the throne, all the way there to King's Landing, push his claim for the throne. Now, Jon, he's never been able to keep a secret, so there was no chance of that happening. So when he goes to tell his two sisters, and Bran already knows, they're all sitting around, he swears them, to never tell another soul. Bran leaves the choice to Jon, But Sansa quickly uses this information to, to spread it for sure, because she's just not convinced about the Dragon Queen. So what she tells when she tells Tyrion, Joe, what do you think was going to happen after that?
You know, I didn't know what was going to happen, but I knew it wasn't good for Jon and Dany's relationship. And, you know, I'm with you, man. I see that, you know, she cares more about the throne than she cares about Jon. And, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and put this out there, man. I've been kind of putting theories together in my head. And, you know, there was all the talk about Arya killing someone with green eyes. Daenerys has green eyes. So let's say Dany kills Jon, Arya kills Dany. How's that for an ending?
Well, in the books, Daenerys had violet eyes, or gray eyes, I think, Frankie. Do you remember? She doesn't have green eyes in the book, Daenerys.
Yeah,
I
she
think
doesn't have
she
green
had
eyes in the book.
violet eyes, I think. But Emilia Clarke might have green eyes, though. So it's
Emilia Clarke
interesting.
does have green eyes. That's
Right.
why I thought, okay.
Right, but yeah, and now we'll get into more about that. But of course, Tyrion and Varys have a super important conversation here. And Chris, do you think I can't remember? It might have been Frankie who said that Varys would be the one to betray Daenerys, and it sure looks that way now. I can't remember if it was Frankie. But
that wasn't me, but it definitely looks like it.
Right, exactly. Now, Varys has always said he does everything in the interest of the realm, the common people, so that they can, you know, have safety and security and a good life and not experience anything hardships. But Chris, do you think Varys will follow through on his plan? We don't know what his plan is, but do you think he'll betray Daenerys? Because it sure looks like he's going to betray Daenerys.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it. I would say it's going to happen, even though Tyrion's trying to talk him out of it. And I don't even think he's 100% convinced himself that staying the course is the best for everybody. I mean, you know, everyone's starting to question, is she going to become the Mad Queen? You know,
right.
She's starting to go crazy at all costs.
Right,
Kinda
that's
like
in my notes too. We'll talk about that. Frankie, does Jon? Do you get a sense from that scene with Jon and Dany that Jon's put off by the idea of being with his aunt?
Yeah, just a little bit. He definitely pulled away there for a second.
Yeah.
Once you remembered.
and that makes the viewer very uncomfortable because, like we said in our last show, Joe, viewers and all of us, we want the happy ending, and that's not Game of Thrones style. We want the happy ending. We want Jon and Dany to end up together happily ever after, king and queen. And boy, they're going to make us earn it as viewers. Do we still? I'll go around the circle here. Do we still think there's a happy ending for Jon and Dany, Joe? What do you think?
I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with no. There's no happy ending in this story. George R.R. Martin is too much of a crazy author for us to go along with that. So no, there's no happy ending in the cards. I think one of them will survive and the other will probably die. So I'm interested to see what happens. But no, there's no happy endings for anybody in this. I think we're going to lose at least half the cast in the next 2 shows. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen.
Sandman, do you think there's a happy ending for Jon and Dany, or is it just not in the cards?
Yeah, not happening. I don't think either one of them are still alive by the end. I think they're both gone. Not at the same time, but yeah, no happy ending for
tragic
Uncle
ending.
Aunt and nephew.
Setting us up for a tragic ending. Frankie, there's going to be a lot of viewers with broken hearts if that happens. What do you think? A happy ending? Because we talked about this last week, and Joe and I, you know, we are convinced that one of the biggest questions on this show for the remaining few episodes is there a happy ending for Jon and Dany? What do you think?
I honestly, I do not think that's in the cards at all.
Wow.
Man.
Wow. That is 3 no's.
With Danny, especially, like, she's starting to go the Mad King route. I mean, you saw it in the hall. They had that whole montage of her just losing her shit, looking around at everybody, like secretly whispering, but they're just hanging out. And then, I mean, with John, he's just too much of a hero. You know what I mean? Like, seems like he's protected by all this plot armor because the story's about him. But then you have, like, people like Arya killing the Night King, and then you realize, like, okay, well, what's John really here for, you know? So I feel like it could definitely be disastrous for both of them.
Well, let me chime in for a second, because I wanted to go back to last week with when Barrick died. You know, he was finally able to die because he served his purpose, right? Mm-hmm. So that means John has to have some sort of purpose in this story where the Lord of Light is going to let him die, right? So I figure, you know, John can't make it out of the story alive without serving his purpose. So he might have to sacrifice himself, might have to do something. But I just don't see John surviving the show at all.
Well, that's a great point, Joe. Great point.
What if, while you're talking, Joe, I just thought, what if we end up getting Arya with John's face killing Danny?
Wow, Frankie, I like it. Man,
wow, that's twisted. I like it.
Yeah, we really are being set up for the Mad Queen. However, this is one Mad Queen making another, because Cersei really has the advantage right now. She is a Mad Queen. If she's trying to make another Mad Queen, she's doing a really good job of it. What we got was, man, I was really surprised, and it took me by surprise big time, was Euron Greyjoy waiting for Dany to come around the corner. And we lost another dragon. Sandman, we're down to 1 dragon. We lost a lot of Dothraki. We lost a lot of Unsullied, a lot of Northmen, a lot of Knights of the Vale. Are we looking at maybe the Second Sons and Daario Naharis coming back to maybe rescue Dany? He did really love her. We'll see. There's only 2 episodes left, so right at this point, it's probably not likely. What do you think? Are we going to see Daario again? I'll go around again to all 3 of you. Daario Naharis.
Go ahead, man.
Yep. Yeah. I think it's time. Better get on it though. Show's almost over.
That's right.
You know, but they got to have something. It's stacked up against them, even with the dragon, because obviously they can take it out. They're gonna have to do sneak attack.
Right, Frankie. What do you think? Daario Naharis return in the next 2 episodes, or not likely?
I don't really know if it's likely. Just because they had that whole backstory in Marine about there being that secret family, like royal families that were trying to assassinate Dany constantly. Like once she left, they probably just killed all of them.
Yeah, I mean, now she did send Daario off on a mission, and I think it was to collect the Second Son. So we don't know whether he's successful or not. We don't know whether the show just decided to forget about him. There was talk of a Dornish prince supposedly supporting Dany. Joe, Dornish army, Second Sons. What do you see?
I'm going to go with all of the above. I think you're going to get both. I think the Second Sons and the Dornish army, and I think that's how they're going to lay the whoop ass on the Lannister army and the Golden Company. And it's going to lead us right into the Clegane Bowl, man. I'm just pumped up thinking about it.
Right. Now, Frankie, you did have a trial by combat for Cersei theory. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah. I was just thinking that if her armies were defeated and she really wanted to delay things, get as many enemies as she could in the capital, she would just ask for a trial by combat. If Dany really wanted to be recognized as a legitimate queen, she couldn't refuse her. So I'm really just trying to find a way to get Clegane Bowl. I'll be real. I want Clegane Bowl to happen, and that seems like the most likely way.
Well, that's a great way to do it. I would sure send it off in style.
And it'd be a great one-on-one fight too.
Right. Now, there was one scene, of course, we did get one big death besides the dragon, Joe, and it's Danny's best friend, basically. The viewer was led to believe that Grey Worm might be the one to go, in battle.
Yeah, they really were.
But we were given a twist. Tell us about how you felt when, Daenerys's best friend and interpreter went out.
Well, I tell you what, after the attack on the ships, I thought Grey Worm was just gonna find her like drowned or dead from that attack. But then when they couldn't find her, I'm like, oh, that means they got her, and this is gonna be the end. And I have to say, when I saw her up there, I was like, maybe she'll survive. I thought maybe she'll survive for like 10 seconds, and then I saw the look on Cersei's face, and I'm like, oh, that's not happening. And then, of course, you have her famous last words, Dracarys.
Yeah.
Which is basically just saying, burn them to the ground.
Light this bitch up.
Light this bitch up. And, man, that was very powerful last words. But I thought Cersei was going to push her. I didn't realize that the mountain was just going to chop her head off.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I did, too. And then, now, Cersei has gathered all of the folk into the Red Keep as protection, not for them, but for her. So she, the viewer just wants Cersei's head, but if she wanted to piss off Dany, killing Missandei was a good way. Killing one of her children, Dany even says, "This is one of my children. You've watched my child fall from the sky." And Qyburn, that little rat, he had a good plan, The parlay between Tyrion and Qyburn was really something, man. How Qyburn came out and he had the upper hand, but he was still gentlemanly. Sam, man, what'd you think of that scene between Qyburn and Tyrion? Who kind of got the better of that one?
Yeah, I think Qyburn got the better of that one.
Yeah.
Tyrion's off his game a little bit right now.
Yeah, he is.
He's not being the smartest guy around like he had been for most of the series.
Yeah.
But you had to know that neither one was going to give in before they even got to that point.
Right. Tyrion, he basically said, "I'm done talking to you. Yeah, I'm gonna go around you and talk to upper management." But when Tyrion walked up to address Cersei himself, I thought he was going to get stuck with 100 arrows, Joe. Did you? I thought that was the end of Tyrion. What'd you think?
Yeah.
I thought he was gone, man. What'd you think?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I sat there and I kind of covered my eyes for about 10 seconds because I did not want to lose Tyrion right there. And thankfully we did not. But yeah, I thought he was going to get lit up like the 4th of July.
Yeah, so did I. And Frankie, we almost lost him on the ship, too. He almost got harpooned maybe 3 times. Did you think Tyrion was a goner?
I thought he was a goner on the ship. I thought he was just going to get impaled right through the head. Because he was perfect head level for those spears coming through the sides.
Man, I'm kind of glad we didn't lose Tyrion yet. I still think he has a part to play. I know there's still the 3-headed dragon prophecy, where maybe it's not 3 dragons, but 3 Targaryens. So we'll see. Maybe there's been talk of Tyrion being the son of the Mad King who possibly raped Tywin Lannister's wife, Joanna. Sam, man, do you think Tyrion is a secret Targaryen?
I've kind of him-hawed around about that, seeing different, things that people have talked about, thinking maybe, but no, I don't think he is. I think he's a Lannister.
Frankie, is Tyrion a Targaryen? Tywin's last words to him were, "You are no son of mine."
I think it's a pretty good possibility. I know the Mad King, if you look into the lore, was really into his wife.
Yeah, he was. Mad King, he was hot for Tywin's wife.
Yeah, he was really hot for Tywin's wife.
Yep.
And there's a good chance, as the king, he could have just chosen to rape her on their wedding night.
Yeah,
they
Joe.
have that right.
What do you think, Joe?
I agree. I think Tyrion is a Targaryen, and I think it's gonna come out probably in the last episode, and then all hell's gonna break loose. So, I maybe all three of them die. Who knows, man? But this show is just so twisted and warped that I just can't believe there's only 2 left. Damn.
Oh, they got a lot of wrap it up to do in 2 episodes now. Do you think? I'll go around to all 3 of you guys. Do you think Daenerys is gonna wait for northern forces or reinforce it? Maybe other help from elsewhere, or is she gonna send Drogon herself and Drogon to take out those scorpions that are mounted all around the place and maybe burn Euron's fleet? Just her and Drogon. What do you think, Sandman? Is Dany gonna be filled with rage? Maybe her and Grey Worm are so filled with rage they attack prematurely. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna wait. I think they might be strategically smarter about how they attack, but I don't think they wait for any of their help. Even though I think that when all hope is lost, their help will come and show up.
Right. It looks like Jon Snow is on his way down. I'm a little disappointed that they didn't use Bran warging into some ravens to maybe scout ahead. They could have sniffed out that Euron Greyjoy sneak attack, Joe. They haven't used Bran to their advantage. What do you think? Is Bran going to play a bigger part, Joe, in the last 2 episodes?
Dude, I sure hope so, man. Because right now he just sits there and stares at people. You know, he's like a creepy homeless guy outside of McDonald's. I just, you know, I just don't understand what's going on with him. There better be some sort of payoff with him, because if there's not, then he's like the most useless character in the history of the world. Because yeah, he could have sniffed out that attack. You know, he could have sniffed out, you know, the fact that they captured Missandei and they had her in a position like that. You know, there's a million things that Bran could help with, and he just kind of sits there and does nothing. So yeah, I sure the heck hope that he does something. Go ahead, Chachi.
Yeah, what do you got?
Just thinking along your line of questioning, what if he did know those things and just decided not to say anything?
Yeah,
great point.
I was thinking
maybe he doesn't want Daenerys to be queen. Maybe he wants, like a lot of people, maybe he wants Jon Snow to be king.
You know, Varys see her fire to be as bad as the ice.
Right now, that's, you know, Jon Snow really is the ice to her fire. You know, he's the cool, collected one. He's measured. He doesn't rush into things. And Dany is very impulsive, hot-headed. You can already see Varys has turned, we think, to thinking Jon Snow would be a better ruler. Now, Sir Davos did propose that the 2 of them marry. Now, Varys and Tyrion did discuss this, but they thought maybe Jon Snow's northern upbringing would not allow, you know, any kind of marriage. And of course, Jon's still struggling with that. Again, our most important story is our most important question is Jon and Dany. Can they unite and rule the 7 kingdoms, or is it one or the other? And that's you know, Daenerys is one-track mind of taking the 7 kingdoms by force. You know, no matter what. Is she going to turn into the Mad Queen that Cersei's trying to drive her into? Cersei knows Daenerys has a temper. So, again, we've got 2 episodes left to wrap it up. And I'll go around one more time. Any last points, any last predictions for episode 5? Let's start with Frankie. What do you think? Anything strike you right now for episode 5 of Game of Thrones? This is the penultimate episode.
What strikes me for episode 5 is that there's supposed to be some sort of huge battle. So I'm assuming that the majority of it will be like episode 3, and it'll be solely focused on the battle at King's Landing, maybe with a few off-scene shots where Jon is doing something, like coming down maybe at the end to see the results or something similar to that. And we might get to see Aisha, I feel like, at some point.
Oh, okay. You mean Yara, right? Yara Greyjoy?
Ah, yes, Yara.
Okay, I know they changed it from the book. She was Asha in the book.
Yeah.
Sandman, any predictions for episode 5? Anybody you think marked for death?
Well, if I had my Deadpool with me, I'd tell you who I think's gonna die because I've hit on all of them so far.
Nice.
But I'm real curious the way this battle goes. If Cersei's got a backup plan, if she is losing to blow up King's Landing.
Yep.
You know, yeah. She's always got a backup plan.
That's in my notes.
She's smart.
Yep.
She's
probably still has that green wildfire.
Exactly. And if she is losing and decides to do that, who's going to be the one to stop that from happening?
Right. That's a great point, Chris. I think you might see some wildfire unleashed. I remember, Joe, Daenerys had a vision in Karth, the undying city of the Iron Throne Room, burned out and snow falling through it. Not sure what it means, but it could be that King's Landing and the Red Keep are completely destroyed by Cersei. You know, if Cersei sees she's losing, she may just turn King's Landing into ash. What do you think, Joe?
Well, how about this, Tooch? What about if she, blows up the wildfire and blames it on Daenerys and says that her dragons did it, and the snow that she sees falling is actually ash. So that could very well be something that's in the cards. And my prediction for next week is that Grey Worm is gonna die, taking out Euron Greyjoy.
Wow, great call.
That's my prediction.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, Cersei definitely winning the PR battle between, at least in King's Landing, she's winning the PR battle against Daenerys. So, well, that's going to be something to see. There's lots of possibilities. You guys did a great job tonight. We touched on it. Oh wow! Thank you so much. We touched on a lot of things. Jamie, is he gonna take out Cersei, or is he gonna protect Cersei? John and Danny, is it a happy ending? Does Arya get close enough to Cersei? Does Cersei destroy the whole of King's Landing? I think we covered it all. Anything else? We
got one more we forgot about.
Yeah. All right. Oh wait.
When Bronn came to visit. The brothers Lannister. So Tooch, I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah.
Bronn comes in with the crossbow, and he's the typical Bronn we know. He doesn't think that Cersei's gonna win, and he wants a little bit more, Tooch. So why don't you break it down for us a little bit?
Yeah, he wants a little assurance. Some great lines in there too, where Bronn says, Jamie tries to throw some shade at him by saying, someone of low birth or cunning, and never. Bronn throws it right back at him and says, "How did your family come into power?" And I think we'll see that in one of the prequels of Game of Thrones, the story of Lan the Clever, who was the founder of the Lannister house, who swindled Casterly Rock out from its owner. That would be something to see. Bronn, he was serious. He was all about his business. And I don't know if what struck me is I don't know what part Bronn's going to play. Is he going to be a dick, or is he going to be a hero? He's another one of those gray characters like Jaime Lannister. So I have no idea what they're going to do with Bronn's character. Do I see him rescuing maybe Jaime or Tyrion? I don't know. Possibly, maybe Tyrion. I think Jaime's. I think is. I have him dying in the Deadpool. I'm sure a lot of you guys do. So I think if he were to save anybody, it might be Tyrion. Tyrion's been his cash cow for a while, and I think he's right to suggest that Cersei won't win, because boy, Game of Thrones would go down as maybe the worst TV show in history if Cersei wins it all. So with that, we've reached the end of the show. Wait, one more thing before we go, Joe. The Starbucks cup.
Yes.
I didn't notice
coffee
it the first time, but did anybody see it? Frankie, did you see the cup when you were watching the show?
I did not notice it.
I didn't either.
That moment was so awkward too. Maybe that's why.
Right. Sandman, did you notice the Starbucks cup or see it later on social media?
Later on social media, I was like, "Is that photoshopped?"
Yeah,
Or did
that's
that
what
really
I thought
happen?
too.
You know, and then I
I'll
looked
have
into
to
it more,
replay
and
the
it's like
episode.
it really did happen. That's crazy.
Is it for real, Joe? The Starbucks cup? The editors missed it?
It's for real. It's there. They missed it. Either that or it was intentional, and Starbucks paid a lot of money under the table for it.
Yeah, because product placements. Maybe HBO was like, hey Howard, we're gonna slip a cup in there, a little product placement. Send the check to HBO.
Yeah, I think they're doing okay. Starbucks is probably real happy about it.
Right. Well, I hope everyone could hear our Starbucks of Winterfell commercial because that was classic. All right, so we've reached the end of the show. I want to thank my guests, Frankie Myers. Tell us where we can find you on Twitter, Frankie.
You can find me at Frankie Myers, and I'm Chachi to pretty much everybody on Twitter.
Sandman, tell us where we can find you on Twitter. Thanks for bartending. My drink was excellent, as usual.
On Twitter, like a Sandman, always affiliated with Barroom Barflies. And
yes, sir.
To
Super
everyone out there, this is last call.
Super Barfly. All right.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And Joe Mandel, where can we find you on Twitter?
Well, if any of you guys don't know, it's really easy. It's at Joe Mandel. Joey Two Scoops in the house, man. Easy one to find on Twitter.
Is that Joe Mantle?
Mandel with a D.
Find me at Santucci_John. Follow I Have a Stream at I Have a Stream Pod on Twitter. And hopefully the show will be up later tonight or early tomorrow morning, depending on how fast I can get it through post-production. And Two Scoops, how about taking us out with a little television?
Oh, yeah. Davos would just slit her throat or something because of all of the burning of the little girl, because it's heavy on his mind, and you can tell it is.
That was surprising that he let her go.
Yeah.
And where's the ghost baby she birthed out at some point?
It might just be a temporary spell, but Ghost, the wolf, was in one scene. We don't know what happened to him. He just was running along. He went out with Sojora.
I am happy to report that Ghost is still alive.
Yeah. Okay, good.
So I think this is probably what Brandon was going to say, but in the preview for next week, they showed that Ghost is still alive, and they show that both dragons are still alive.
Oh, excellent.
Here's my question to you guys. Who's going to be the one to betray? Is there going to be any more flippers? You know, everyone's kind of seemed to come together here with the battle against the undead. Is anyone going to flip back and betray one another? Who's that? Who's the high horse for that?
I think it's Tyrion.
I'm gonna say it's Bronn, and he's not gonna go through with his mission. He's gonna turn.
I think Jenny and I got
join up with the boys.
Well, who do you think, Janowski? Before I tell you who I think.
Who do I think is gonna flip? The only person at this point, like, Sansa doesn't like Daenerys still.
Yeah, great point.
You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what, she still doesn't like her. She still doesn't think she's about the right things. If she reminds me a lot of Cersei. So not the evil, twisted, that kind of stuff, but her attitude towards everybody else and who she is Cersei-esque.
I definitely think
playing the game.
I definitely think those two are the ones to keep an eye on, Sansa and Khaleesi, because they still got their eye on they're not like thinking about the big. You still see them having conversations about who's gonna rule what, the North or the Seven Realms. So that is gonna be something to watch there, at least in my house.
Yeah, like, are you gonna leave the North alone? And that's her biggest concern. And I'm sure Sansa would. Not Sansa. I'm sure Cersei would say, we'll leave the North alone. Not that she'll mean it, but she'd give her that at least. To where, Khaleesi, not going to happen. She's all or nothing, man.
Three episodes left. There's a lot of speculation and only so much time. But the idea about John and Dany, they have got a lot of things to work out, Shay. Do you think a Dany pregnancy could bring those two together? What do you think, Shay? John and Dany, a pregnancy.
Do you really think they're going to stick together?
I don't know.
No, I don't think so.
No? Is their relationship shot? John and Dany already?
I think so.
You think so? That's a big question, guys. Joe, what do you think? John and Dany, any chance of them getting back together?
Man, I've been stewing on this for.
It's a huge question.
Yeah, I've been stewing on this for the last 3 episodes, and I think it can happen. I do think they can get back together, and I think it has to do with one of the two denying their privilege for the throne, right? So whether that's John or that's Daenerys, I think it's for that to work out, one person's got to do that. And I just get the vibe that it's going to be Jon Snow, that he's going to silently not claim his spot. And I think that's what's going to happen. That's my opinion. And I think they're going to end up together to keep the about face, and to keep and keep in mind, you have to think about the fact that Cersei and Jaime had the reputation of being brother and sister that were together and never officially known, but talked behind the backs. So do Jon and Dany want the same thing? Absolutely not. So I think Jon silently takes all that information inside, kind of like his uncle did. His father, Ned Stark, silently took this secret and held it within all those years. So I think that's what's going to happen.
So Brandon, we've got basically three big possible endings with Jon and Dany. Jon dies, or Dany dies. Or they both end up together. Now, George Martin loves his tragedies. The happy ending the viewer wants to see would be Jon and Dany together on the Iron Throne, which is what everyone wants to see, right, Shay? Happy ever after?
I don't think that's happening.
Is that Game of Thrones style?
No.
Not really. Brandon, what do you think? Game of Thrones style, happy ever after, or no?
I think, kind of to your point, it's seldom that HBO shows end happy. I think one's gonna go either way or another. I don't think they're gonna give us everything that we want. It would be too predictable. I think it's kind of back to Jon Snow, who, a lot of the population thought was going to be the hero, and Arya comes through. So I just don't. I think they've twisted and turned enough that somebody's got to go. I don't think it can end happily ever after. One or the other. I think good chance that Jon Snow's gonna die. That's my intuition in it. I think he's gonna die.
there's possible, of course they could both die, and there's other things. Tyrion could end up on the throne, sorts of. But these last 3 episodes are going to be keeping the viewers, like you and I and everybody here in this bar room, in suspense about whether or not we get our happy ever after ending. That's what I think. I'm not sure. We'll find out. And
what about Gendry and Arya? They just had sex, and
there you go.
Gendry was King Baratheon.
They're both still alive.
Well, and Gendry was King Baratheon's bastard son, right?
Right.
And Arya's a Stark, so that's 2 houses. If they had a kid, what does that mean?
Right. If Jon and Dany are dead, that's another possibility. Now that we're still set up for Clegane Bowl too, Joe.
Yes.
We're still on for that. Now I got to think we're going to get that. We may not get a happy ever after ending, but we're going to see the Hound and the Mountain fight. And that's going to be one I think we're going to see in the next 3 episodes. That's what people want. If they can't give us a happy ever ending, they're going to give us that battle. And I want to thank all my guests who've reached the end of the show. Thank you so much, Greg, for coming on I Have a Stream, man. I hope you had fun.
Oh, yeah, this was great. A lot of fun.
Follow Greg at Greg Braggs Jr. on Twitter. And Brandon, thank you for coming on I Have a Stream podcast. I hope you had fun. I didn't get too drunk. I didn't check your ID. But follow Brandon at What's Wolf with an E on the end. At What's Wolf on Twitter. Shay, thank you for dropping by as usual.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Follow Shay at The Real Shay Beck on Twitter, and my sidekick and wingman, a partner in crime, Joe Mandel, at Joe Mandel on Twitter, Joey
That's
Two
right.
Scoops. And follow me at Santucci_John. Follow I Have a Stream Pod at I Have a Stream Pod on Twitter. As always, subscribe to Bears Barroom Radio. You'll get this show in your download stream. And Joe, thanks again. How about taking us out with a little television?
Absolutely.
That's what I do. I drink and I know things.